MJCA. It's Miss Risher, and I just wanted to share something fun and happy with you today. You all know how much I love Walt Disney and Disney World, and I wanted to share my talent with you today. I've been playing the violin since I was 5 years old, and I just wanted to share a song with you from one of my favorite attractions at Walt Disney World in Tomorrowland, which is the Carousel of Progress.
Yours truly is going to attempt to sing some songs, just a few lyrics. I'm going to pause, and then we're going to let our 10th grader, Rosie Lopez, go first. I've been practicing. A new fantastic point of view. No one to tell us no or where to go or say we're only dreaming. Rosie, you got it?
A whole new world.
Yes!
Bring me luck, Mickey.
When the road looks rough ahead and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed, you just remember what your old Mr. Tabor pal said. Boy, you've
Got a friend in me.
Yes! They can sing, they can dance. After all, miss, this is France, and a dinner here is never second best. Go on, unfold your menu, take a glance, and then you'll
Be our guest.
awesome. All right.
I'm coming back, Rosie.
Stump button. It is where we are. It's enough for this wide-eyed wanderer that we've got this far. And
Can you feel the love tonight?
wow, Mrs.
Wow,
Frank.
I should take the beat.
This one, the second I stop and point at you guys,
I think youth might have the speed option here. I don't know.
forget about your worries and your strife. I mean the
Bare necessities.
That was a tie. Wasn't that a tie? That was a tie.
it wasn't.
Come on, Rosie. Let it go. Let it go. You know I want it, Rosie. You know I did. Say Rosie's the winner. She got the whole thing out before me. I'll give it to her. She beat me.
Thank you.
Does that sound good, Rosie?
You're
Yeah.
All right, we'll make you the winner.
Thank you.
Hey students, this is Erik Reed here, and I'm honored to have an opportunity to bring to you a quick word and some thoughts for your meditations and your consideration. We're living in a crazy world right now, as you guys know. School is out. Seniors will never go back again. Spring sports, were canceled. We're seeing our country really shut down, and the summer camps are closing. Just unprecedented. In your lifetime, in my lifetime, I've never seen anything like this. I have a 93-year-old grandmother who lived through the Great Depression, who lived through World War II, and she said she's never seen anything like this in her lifetime. And the heart of what we're dealing with and what we're facing is the result of disease and a virus that is circulating the globe. But when you actually trace the root of why does disease and virus even exist, you come back to an answer that the Bible makes very clear is sin. The world is broken and the world is fallen because of sin. And sin is not this vague, abstract, out there thing. Sin is a result of human action against God. In other words, the world is broken. Our bodies break down and die. Our world has cancer and tornadoes and war and murder and viruses because the world is experiencing the ripple effects and the results of brokenness and destruction. And that's come because of sin. And it's come because of our first parents' sin, but it also is because of our sin. We contribute to this brokenness. One of the questions that a lot of people ask, and I think it's a fair question, right? To live in this world practically means you're going to bump up against suffering and pain. You're going to bump up against disappointment. You're going to bump up against suffering and tragedy. You guys may or may not know this, but my wife and I lost our 15-year-old son on December 1st of last year. And so it's been several months since he passed, but it's been hard. It's been hard. We loved our son very much, and even though he had a lifetime of medical issues and needs, it doesn't lessen the fact that it's hard and it hurts. And so when I talk about the issue of pain and suffering, I'm not talking about some vague abstract concept. I'm talking about something that's very personal, not just to me, but for many of you who are watching this and listening to this. And so the question that often rises as we bump up against suffering and as we run into the reality of pain in this life is, how in the world is God good and with us? And how do we make sense of where God is in the midst of pain and suffering? How do we navigate walking with Him when there's so much trouble in the world and there's so many things that happen in our lives? And first and foremost, we need to know and need to remember that our God is sovereign. And what we mean by sovereign is that He is in complete control of this world. Okay? There's nothing that's outside of His control. There's nothing where God's sitting by like, oops, I didn't see that coming, or oh wow, I didn't foresee that happening, or oh boy, my hands are tied and I wish I could intervene, but there's nothing I can do. The Bible makes it clear that our God is sovereignly in control. And I think you can point to countless passages, but maybe the best one of all of them is found in Genesis 36 all the way through 50 at the very end. It's the story of Joseph. He went through a lot of pain, a lot of trouble, a lot of destruction, a lot of difficulty. And yet, here's what happens. And Joseph's family, his brothers, come looking for food in Egypt. And who is sitting in power and control, able to feed them or not feed them, but Joseph. And after a series of events that happen, Joseph finally reveals himself to his brothers. And when he does, his brothers assume that they're dead, that Joseph is going to end their life because of their betrayal. And instead, this is what Joseph says. Genesis chapter 50, verse 20. Joseph says, As for you, brothers, you meant evil against me, but God meant good in order to bring about this present result to preserve many people alive. What you meant for evil, Joseph says to them, God meant for good. And the good that he was bringing was that he would ultimately put me in this position of power that many people's lives might be spared. Now watch. Joseph doesn't say what you did meant for evil, God used for good. Like God just passively was like, oh, how can I fix this and make the best out of the situation? No. God was actively acting through the situations. The brothers were acting and they're guilty for their actions. Potiphar's wife was acting. She was guilty for her actions. And yet God was working all along. Now, you don't have to sort all this, the how-tos of this out, because the Bible doesn't tell you how to sort all that out. The Bible just helps you to understand that what's going on in the world around you is not arbitrary. God's at work. God's doing something. God is at work in the midst of your suffering. So let me just say this. What God is doing in the midst of pain and suffering can't always be traced, but we must trust him in the midst of what we're going through. So what this brings us to is we have to understand God is in control and God is at work for good. And so what I need to learn to do is walk in relationship with him and love him and trust him. And that's what I want to encourage you to do, students. In the midst of anything you're going through, know that God is in control. And even though he may not change in your circumstance, you can trust he's doing something in it. So press in to know him. Press in to learn about his ways and to walk with him in communion and abiding in him. And as you do that, he will bring peace and comfort to you, though your circumstances may not change, because you'll know the God who holds your life in his hands. And he's worthy of your trust and your worship. Hope this is helpful for you. Hope in the midst of everything going on, you would seek the Lord. And in seeking him, you would draw closer to him than you ever have before. We'll talk to you guys soon.